my ex-boyfriend of 7 years, before he dated me, he dated a famous porn star for 2 years. And I was, especially back then when I was 23, when I started dating him, I've always wanted to be the sexy woman, and I couldn't find it in myself. And this woman, her name's Stoya, because people always want to know who it is, and she doesn't mind if I say it. So it's Stoya, because we ended up interviewing her. There was so many hurdles at the beginning of my relationship with this man that I realized was him being an asshole, but I didn't chalk that up to him being an asshole, where he would tell me things that I didn't want to hear about her. And it got me extremely jealous. Yeah. He would say things like, well, when I would date Stoya, she would take my hand and put it up her skirt in public to let me know how wet I made her in public. I'm like, I don't want to do that. That's ugh. And so instead of like openly explaining, like, this is not appropriate for you to tell me, boyfriend. Okay. You fucking bitch about this to your friends, not me. I was his shoulder to lean on. And I very graciously, openly accepted that role. Had no business accepting that role. Yeah. And so all of these things started happening that made it was comical how much my jealousy was just being poked at by like a fire. She was on the cover of all of these porn shops in New York with this movie poster for a movie called Pirates, a porn called Pirates. A couple months into us dating, she was on the cover of the Village Voice, which was on every corner of the city, like in a free little kiosk. It was just her face, and the headline read, "The prettiest girl in New York." What'd you say?
It was Stoya, 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 Stoya everywhere.
Yeah. And the headline of that cover, her cover, was "The prettiest girl in New York is a porn star." And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And then when I would go over his house, I realized that he had all these fleshlights of hers still at his house. And I was like, I didn't know what a fleshlight was. And if you're listening, you don't know. Looks like a big flashlight. And when you unscrew the cap, it's either a mouth, vagina, or butthole molded off of that specific porn star. They sell them as merch. And he had like a shitload of her fake holes in his closet. And I was like, that's disrespectful, right? And he was like, yeah, I guess. And he threw them out. And then fast forward a couple months later, about 8 to 9 months into us dating, we moved in together. Because like I said, we fell in love so hard and so fast. Also, that's New York speed because rent's so expensive. And then we lived together a couple years at that point in this apartment, because I've lived here for 10. And Hurricane Sandy, which was the first, not the first major hurricane to hit New York, but it's very rare that a category 3 or 4 hurricane comes barreling into Manhattan. And that happened while we were living together. I live in the first floor. The unit that I live in is 2 stories. Top floor is the first floor. The bottom floor is in the basement. My boyfriend's office where he worked was in the basement. And when Hurricane Sandy came and it hit, we lost power, which I never experienced. Losing power in the biggest city in the world, it was so bizarre. We lost power. First, the lights were all flickering. We're like, we did not think it was even possible to lose power in Manhattan. We lost power, and then the bottom floor, our basement floor, started flooding. It ended up flooding with 3 feet of sewage water that came up from the toilet in the tub. It truly felt like Armageddon, and we were panicking and running all of our shit upstairs because we didn't even know it was possible to flood. Like, it's Manhattan. You don't associate that with hurricane in the path of a hurricane that way. And so I ended up going in the closet of his office, and I found what I thought was a flashlight, and I unscrewed it, and I realized that it was her butthole. And so I just stood there, in the middle of 3 feet of sewage poop water in my home with hardly any lights on, just my cell phone flashlight, staring into the eye of her butthole as Hurricane Sandy came barreling over us. So, there's one.